If you want it, come and get it. I ain't here to brag or boast, but I bet you won't bet. Man, I come to take it home. I want it deep in my bones, and I don't ask how to live. When it all falls down, I'll be the last man standing. It's the hard knocks, it's the long shots, it's believing in yourself when you're all you got.
The long day's grind at Martinsville Speedway to be the last man standing at the end of 500 laps. Ongoing here. And a new leader as we come back live to Martinsville, Virginia. Jimmy Johnson just slipped around Jeff Gordon.
I tell you, Jeff Gordon just got around Jimmy Johnson, just like you said there, and that was a good move because he's just trying to get those points, trying to keep that car out front, keep that clean air. Got to do what you got to do. We're over 2 hours into this race right now. Tempers are starting to flare. These guys need to cool down a little bit, get back in the game.
Yeah, let's talk to me about that for a second, Rusty. You're a 7-time winner here. You're grinding away in this car lap after lap after lap. You never really have 2 seconds to breathe here on one of these straightaways. What's it like to keep your focus and to keep yourself pushing as hard as you need to push to win one of these races?
It's a good point, Alan. It's hard to do that, but right now this race is starting to settle in a little bit. You know, where the tough part happens is on these restarts. When these guys are side by side, they're beating and banging. What they got to do now is get out front like Jimmy Johnson and start conserving those brakes. Save that car. And above all, you know, keep yourself cool. I think it's very, very important to do that right now.
So the harder discipline is to get yourself in position to slow down and ease off versus to keep yourself pushing hard.
You know what Jack and House told me earlier about Jimmy Johnson. He says that's the greatest asset to Jimmy Johnson is he understands that his brakes are going to get soft during the race, but he doesn't freak out. A lot of these guys freak out when their brakes start to go away. He doesn't do it. He backs it up, he cools his brakes down, and then he goes racing again. And that's what we saw him do just a little while ago with Jeff Gordon. Now he's back up on the wheel.
Jimmy Johnson has led the most laps today, and I think somebody mentioned earlier on the show, might have come from upstairs, guys. You get the most points by leading the most laps and winning the race. Was that you, Petrie?
Yeah, that was me, Alan.
All right. I listen.
That's good. Pay attention.
Oh, there goes Rudeman up across the racetrack. After a while, he was having a great run in 12th position. He will lose 3, 4, 5 spots and now fall back in line. Or maybe not head to pit road. He's got an issue.
Front right, he's on pit road.
He could have a right front down because the car really went up the racetrack down.
Right side tires, right side tires.
Hear him calling for just right side tires. We get over to this right front.
Yeah, he's got a soft right front. We heard Ryan Pemberton calling him in the pits to change those tires.
Look at it, we got in the wall pretty hard here.
That's unfortunate, David. As we just documented, had a great run going.
Smoke on the right front, Ryan.
Dave?
You guys, right now you're just seeing the work on the right front to try to figure out what had happened. Just ended up in the wall, and they'll change to right side tires, but they got to be careful that that right front suspension wasn't further damaged. You heard David's radio communication wondering about it.
Car just abruptly went up across the racetrack. Now we'll show you what happened. Watch this 44 car as he heads down into turn 1.
Oh, that could have been
That's probably why the right front went down. And now he's got a problem with the with right front after making that contact. And now he's just trying to get out of the way, and these other cars are coming by.
And moments ago, the 88 car, Dale Earnhardt Jr. gets by McMurray, who had been one of the quickest cars on the racetrack. In fact, 5 of the last 8 laps, McMurray had been faster than the leaders. Now Earnhardt goes by and takes the 4th spot away.
Well, we've got a car in the wall up in turn 4, turn 3.
Martin Truex up scraping the wall. No yellow, will stay green. There he comes. You see the scrapes on the side of the wall. He rubbed the wall between turns 3 and 4.
Like he could have locked the rear wheels up getting in that corner.
Yeah, I think he just got in there a little bit too hard, a little bit high. Yeah, you could see he got in there too hard, and he was high entering the corner. I believe he kept it out of the wall.
Did a good job. Great job of saving that car.
Martin's had a really good run going all day. He's been in the top 10 the majority of the day.
And look at the wheel marks on the right side of that car.
It'll look worse for the days over.
Yeah,
probably.
he is still in the top 10. He's still running ninth, so he recovered and he's okay.
Jimmy Johnson has led over 500 laps in the 6 chase races thus far this season. He's already led more laps this year than he's led in his entire career in a single season. What a year he's had.
Hey, Andy, I'm sitting down here watching this deal happen, and, you know, all these guys are locking up these rear brakes. I wonder, I want to get your opinion, You know, the opening in front of these grills for the brakes are so much smaller than the old car that we used to run. I just really think that probably there's not enough opening to cool it. We see this problem on the road courses, everybody wheel hopping. We see the problem here in Martinsville now, wheel hopping. Could there be something to that?
Yeah, Rusty, it could be. I mean, that's one of the challenges of this new car, are the limitations as far as brake ducts and all that stuff, because this front end doesn't have the overhang that the old car had. So you don't have as much room for all the brake ducts. And those openings are a little bit smaller. But the other thing about this car, Rusty, is that it seems like it likes a lot of rear brake, and a lot of guys put as much as they can stand back there, and then when those brakes in the front overheat slightly, then the rear brakes kind of take over, and that's when the rear wheels start hopping and sliding.
Yeah, this car's doing a bunch of crazy things, you know, compared to what we used to. There's no doubt about that. But with no cooling to the fronts, we all know we'll start losing the front efficiency of the braking and stopping power. When that happens, everything goes to the back, and then the rear wheels lock up, start jumping around. I would think that maybe NASCAR ought to think about opening these front brakes up a little more. Let these guys cool these brakes some more.
Yeah, you know what they'd do then, Rusty? Then they would start using them more.
Yeah. Okay, so you fix one problem, now you get another, right?
Yeah, you guys figure out a way to take advantage of all those little advances we make. If we can cool the brakes better, you just figure out a way to get them hotter.
NASCAR has told the teams, by the way, that they will not make any major rule changes for 2009 with this new car. The rules will remain the same. They'll be able to adjust them and keep building newer generation cars, but they wanted to give the team some notice so they can start building cars for next year.
Yeah, and I think Andy's got a good point that they're using a lot more rear brake with this car to try to help the car turn in the center of the corner. You can see Carl Edwards has taken advantage of the traffic along with Dale Jr. here. We've got the front four, Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Carl Edwards, and Dale Jr. all right together. Jimmy's kind of taking his time getting through this traffic, not creating any problems, which is exactly what he should do with the position he's in, leading the race and the points. But it's allowed these guys to close in on him a little bit.
How good has Hendrick Motorsports been at this track over the years? And we mentioned it's been the Jeff and Jimmy shows. Combined, they have led 9 times for 212 laps today.